What's good? It's your girl Amani Caesar. Smoke.
Boy, Trey forever, baby.
Brian Reeves, Director 70 times 7.
Man, it's your boy, Artist.
The girl's Asia's name. Girl named Masam.
It's Young Spook, one half Back in Business Podcast.
Era, the Gap 2 Diva.
Big stuff.
Are you Milan? Here, Milan.
It's your girl, Flaming Gina.
This Auntie P again.
Boy, Lou.
Ebony, aka Ebony with an I. I'm from the Big Head Radio Show, and I'm
With the King Teeth Network, huh?
King Team Network, and we are back with another amazing interview. And yes, we did it already, but we're doing it now. This is the intro. I don't care. I tell all the business. But I have a beautiful actress, artist, creative in the building, Miss Shamara MXT.
Yes, that's right.
Look, I got it right.
I'm so glad to be here,
Absolutely.
man.
Get that. Are you afraid of making a caricature of yourself?
No.
Basically
no.
like a...
I'm not really afraid of that because my background is theater and like I'm used to playing characters. I think I'm more trying to figure out how to have an elevated version of me so that it's not totally separate, but it is separate enough that it feels elevated.
Absolutely.
When I'm in performance or when I'm,
So background in theater.
Yeah.
When did that start? Really young? Because I was in theater when I was like
Really?
6.
Yeah. So it kind of did, like, as a kid, you have to do like the school recitals and stuff like that. Like, everybody had to do it.
Yeah.
But I was always really into it. Like there was this show. I remember it was called "It's a Drunk Jungle Out There." This is when I was going to Erie Island in first grade, and I don't remember what exactly the show was about, but everybody was different animals, and I was I think all the first graders had to be monkeys. So we had these
I don't remember first grade.
Really?
But, yeah.
I don't remember much, but I remember music. Like, I remember music class. I remember that show.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very impactful then.
It really was. And I remember my teacher, Mr. Swan. Ironically, I got an opportunity to work with him later, but we can talk about that
whenever
a little later. But yeah, we did that show, and we were all wearing like brown sweatsuits to be monkeys. We had our little face paint on, and I remember like being so into it. And my parents were like, "Wow, like she's really into that." So my dad put me in this drama camp the summer after first grade.
Okay.
And I remember we did Snow White in the little camp, and I got to be the witch. And but I was always
you got to be the witch.
It. Yeah, right.
Did you have a lot of lines?
I think so, yeah.
It's
always dope being the villain.
It is, because I was the villain too.
Really?
I was in the Nutcracker. Really?
Oh, for real?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's the only time I ever got to be the villain.
Really?
I know. It's not really in me.
I get, yeah. That was like my only time too, but they didn't give me no lines. I was just the Rat King, and but I got to be on stage the whole time.
You got to be
so I felt cool, but I wasn't saying nothing.
Oh.
But I like that the fact that that's where you started, and then you found the love for it outside of having to just do it.
Exactly, yeah. And it took a while for me to get to that point because I didn't have a lot of examples when I was growing up of people who were recording artists or people who were in movies. But I liked that aspect of it. Like, that was what really drew me to music in the first place.
Okay.
But theater was the only thing that was, like, tangible. Like, there were so many
at the
opportunities.
moment. Got you.
So I went to...
So you wanted to be in music already, though?
Yeah, I always wanted to be a recording artist, but I didn't know enough about how to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And this was like teenage years.
Honestly, I mean, when I was little, I really wanted that, but I was too shy, like as a kid, to really pursue that or to let people know I could sing. Like I was used to sing at home when nobody was home, and I would be blowing. I would be singing Whitney Houston, Christina Aguilera, doing like karaoke by myself, and I would stop as soon as people get home.
Yeah.
So I didn't really like get out of my show until high school.
High school?
Yeah.
Self-confidence is the killer of most dreams.
It is,
and
lack of
self-confidence. And self-confidence in general, we believe that we're born with it, but it's actually something we have to grow.
You have to learn, you have
and
to
learn how to use it. Absolutely.
And your confidence has to grow and develop as you do.
Exactly.
So, like, I'm actually kind of in a period of my life right now where I'm learning my next level of confidence.
That you need to get to the next level. That is so important.
Yes, it is.
To understand that, because there's levels to everything.
There is.
And just like you're a better singer than you were at 7,
Right,
you know?
right.
Because you practice, it doesn't
I've
just
invested a lot
exactly
into who I am right now, and it's so funny that we're talking about this because I was really just thinking earlier. Am I allowed to cuss?
Yes.
I was just thinking today, like, I think sometimes people have me fucked up because, and it's because,
I say that every day.
Right, like,
I say that every day.
But I think it's because sometimes we're not walking in the confidence that we should.
Yes.
Sometimes we are forgetting who we are.
Absolutely.
And
it's only in pockets. So we know it's there,
Yeah.
but we don't know how to extend it through our whole lives so people can see it, that
Yep.
this is just us.
Yeah, to
like,
walk in it.
Exactly. Just to walk in it. Like, for me specifically, when I was playing sports, that you could see the presence on the field, when I'm in practice, how I'm moving, how I'm laughing, how I'm joking with people. But as soon as I leave the field, I'm more quiet.
Yeah.
I'm more reserved.
Yes.
I'm more like, oh no, but that's affecting.
And you downplay. You play
You
small.
downplay.
Yep, you play small, and I'm learning now. I can't play small. It's
No.
one thing to be humble.
Yes.
But being meek, I don't know. I mean, I know God said, the meek will inherit. But I feel like when you walk in too much humility, you downplay and you miss blessings because you're not ready to sell yourself when the time is right to do so.
100%. Literally, that's how I got on the radio, because I knew I was big enough to say, hey, I should be on the show. And I just put it out on social media like, hey, I should be on the show. 2 minutes, 10 minutes later, I'm getting phone calls like, yeah, we want you to host. I didn't even think about hosting. I just wanted to be there. I want to be a part of it. Now, oh, can you come down for a promo video that's going to end up being on the radio? It's like, but if I didn't have the confidence to say, no, I deserve to be on that. I put the work in behind this. Then that whole opportunity is missed.
Exactly. And it's crazy because other people can see it in us.
Yes.
But if we don't see it in ourselves, we're not going to walk the way we need to have those opportunities
It's
come.
scary, actually, that other people see it.
It is. Because other people have more control over manipulating you than you have over walking in your purpose.
Exactly. Yes. They will continually put little things
in your ear.
Ooh. Good or bad.
Ooh,
mostly bad.
You are preaching to me right now. Literally, something happened yesterday that led me to start feeling like, you know what, people got me fucked up, and I'm gonna have to let them know who I am.
And you have to let them know, because it's not even the fact that you're I'm this, I'm that. It's you're not gonna play with me.
Exactly, you're not gonna disrespect me, and these are the boundaries.
And these are the boundaries, absolutely. Yeah. And learning that and understanding that and learning how to convey it properly is a skill that everybody doesn't have. That's why a lot of people get angry, get frustrated, or get sad, get depressed.
And then they don't even pursue anymore.
They don't even pursue anymore, and they take themselves out of it just by not being able to tell the world, hey, I'm this person.
Yes.
Like it or not.
Yeah.
I'm going to be this person tomorrow, the next day, and I'm going to be better and better. And that's okay. I want to embrace everybody, but I'm not taking anything.
Yes. Self-awareness and self-respect. Yeah.
So, you spoke on the goddess mentality.
Yeah.
And it came from a family member, you said?
No, not at all. Well, actually, maybe in a way it did. So 5 years ago, my dad passed away.
Okay.
And it was very premature, and it was not natural, and it was really traumatic for me and my family. And I took it really hard. Obviously, all of us did, but I had a really hard time. Like, I was not myself for a long time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I did therapy, I did antidepressants for a minute, and I went through this time period of being completely broken down and having to rebuild myself. And during that time, everybody knows everything happens for a reason. But when some really messed up stuff happens, it's really hard to internalize that and believe that and not be angry. So I was working on that at that time. And just accepting and trying to come to terms with, everything does happen for a reason. I don't know what it is yet, but everything happens for a reason. And during that time period, I don't remember how I got down this rabbit hole of Google, but that's
Google
when I found it will. But that's when I found my art, and it really was like the balance of life and justice, not meaning like the justice system, but justice as far as like the leveling that life will do.
Absolutely.
And that's when I really like I just clung to that. And I consider myself to be a spiritual person, not religious. There's truth in a lot of places.
Yes.
And you know, at that time, that's the truth that I needed.
So coming out of that time, how did that affect your music? How did that affect your acting? How did that affect the career path you had chosen?
So that year, this was in 2017, I had just gotten off of Disney Cruise Line. So I had been gone for 2 years. I moved to New York in 2015. And then in New York is when I booked Disney Cruise Line.
That's
I had
amazing.
an agent out there. Yeah, it was. And it came on time, too. But my Disney Cruise Line experience was not what anybody expected it to be.
How was it?
I have to be careful because I signed an NDA. So,
Did you?
Yeah. So I.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To work for companies
for any
like
of
that.
those companies. Yeah, absolutely.
But I'll just explain like some of the things that made it unique. So during that contract, they were renovating the cruise ship. So we were rehearsing in a construction zone, and also during that contract, we were opening Frozen, like the live stage production.
Really?
Yeah. So the year after that, in 2017, they launched that production on Broadway.
Wow.
So we workshopped the Broadway production.
That is great.
Yeah, it was a really great experience. I learned a lot.
Absolutely.
And I think the most important takeaway from that experience was that live theater might not be what my path is.
Really?
Yeah. Only because what I was missing from doing that level of like commercial theater was the freedom to create the way that I would like to, and to interpret something the way that I like to. And I think before that, in collegiate theater and regional theater, it's a little, I wouldn't say it's more chill because it's still business. At the end of the day, theater makes money. So,
does it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know the world of theater when it comes to money.
Yes, excuse me. Oh, yeah, theater makes money. So, even like high school theater. So I don't know if you're familiar with like Firestone.
Yes.
Their theater. Like I went to Firestone. We would sell out shows.
Wow.
I mean, in that theater then, their theater now is even bigger, and I'm sure they're selling out shows. But yeah, I mean, those tickets, and they have ways of recycling costumes or recycling sets and stuff like that. So they minimize the cost that it takes to produce the show,
right?
And then they make a lot of money, from selling the tickets and stuff. And a lot of times that gets reinvested into the kids, if it's a school situation, or they invest it in different ways. But
Can
yeah,
you
so
make a career in just theater as an actress?
Absolutely,
and do well.
That's why I pursued it. Yes, I feel like when I was in high school, it was so clear what the path for theater would be, and that's why I pursued it. When I went to Firestone, there was a lady who had graduated some years before. Her name is Lisa. Oh my gosh, Lisa. Ooh, I can't believe I'm forgetting her name because I was really inspired by her story. But she went to Firestone, and she ended up being an original cast member in a musical called the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee.
That's amazing.
It's a mouthful, but it's a really cute
mouthful.
show. And she originated a role on Broadway in that show. So the path for theater is pretty simple. You go to school, or you take private lessons for acting, dance, and singing, and then you move to New York, or you move to a big city like that, maybe LA, and you can get an agent, which having an agent helps because they will set up appointments for you to go and audition for cruise lines, Broadway, off Broadway, national tours.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they have the connections. And their name, precedes them. So people know, okay, this agent is sending me somebody I know that this person is going to be worth seeing because they have an agent. Or if you don't,
becomes more professional.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or if you don't have an agent, you can go to open calls. Open calls are tough though, because if you want to be seen, you got to get up before the crack of dawn and wait in a long line, and and potentially not be seen.
Right.
But yeah, so I did that. I went through that whole process. But
So what's the biggest transition between theater acting and acting on a film and having to stop and redo it and take another shot?
Yeah, there's a huge difference. I feel like for film, the investment is spread out.
Yes.
So like, for example, if you're going to shoot a specific scene on a particular day, you could potentially learn your lines that day and do them right then. And you'll have a whole day to record what's maybe going to end up being 10 minutes of film.
Yes.
And what's cool is like you get the opportunity to start over, you know, or interpret something a different way. So you have choices.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to waste nobody's time though, not being prepared.
Right.
But yeah, you have a little more time to figure out what you're gonna do. With theater, the investment is a lot longer and more consistent. So like you might be rehearsing a show for 3 months consistently, 6 days a week, doing choreography, doing you know, scene work, doing music direction, and I honestly miss that.
So you enjoy that more?
I wouldn't say than film.
Yeah.
Right now I would say yes. I haven't had as many opportunities in film as I would like, but yeah, I do only because it was such a big part of my life for so long. Right. And you really
fall in love
get
with
tight.
That process.
Yeah, you fall in love with the process. You get really tight with your cast.
Yeah.
And it's just like a different type of work environment because you're going to work with your choreographer a few days a week and y'all are just, you know, honing in on dance and getting really nitpicky about how it has to be. And then, you know, you do all of that work for months and then every night you do it over and over and over again.
Straight
and it's fresh
through.
again, you know, and you have to do more work to keep it fresh for yourself because you're doing the same show over and over. So in Disney Cruise Line, we were performing the same shows for 7 months on the cruise show. Yes. And so then on top of that, we were rehearsing those shows for 7 months too because people kept quitting that contract because there was a lot going on. Yeah. So we really we really got tired of those shows, if I'm being honest, and you had to just find it in you to be like, you know what, every day it might not be new for me, but it's new for whoever's in the audience right now, and I got to keep it fresh for them.
Absolutely, and that kind of helps with the mentality of stick-to-itiveness, and understanding like the bigger picture. Yes, because that's why I love teams and sports teams and stuff like that because it's always a bigger picture to the small goals we're doing today. Yes, you have to work together. You have to work together. Yeah. The choreography is important, but you don't have to learn it today, but start to get better as you go, and then once you get it, it's about repetition in your mind. And so you can almost do that in your sleep. But then you have to put the excitement to it.
Exactly, because here's a really cool thing about musical theater. So the baseline is dialogue. When we're speaking to each other, that's one level of energy. And then when we start singing out of that dialogue, that's the next level. It's like, this is so important to me. I can't speak it to you. I have to sing it to you.
Wow. I didn't even think about it like
dancing,
that.
That's the next level. Like, I have to move my body to communicate.
Wow, and people get it in different points. So some people like conversation dialogue. Some people get it when you sing it and you get that octave, so it hits their ears the right way. And some people are hit your soul, and then some people are very visual, so the body language changes the whole concept. But people don't think about that.
They don't, and they don't think about a lot that goes into it.
Being an artist is way more than people realize.
Oh yeah, people think it's like a cakewalk and it's easy and it's just fun all the time. It's work.
It's literally working your ass off for like moments.
Yeah, it can be really taxing, like psychologically and mentally and emotionally and physically. Like there's a lot that goes into even singing. Singing takes a lot out of your body. Like I am physically tired after I sing a show because there's a lot of muscles that are working to support that sound. And
literally exercising just to perform. That is important because you have to have your breath control. You have to be able to move and engage with the audience. So tell us about a time that kind of was hitting you hard when it comes to being an artist. So like it was just taking a lot out of you day after day after day, and it was like you can't really find that moment of rejuvenation, and then you found it.
The first time that comes to mind is Disney Cruise Line.
That was a very powerful, impactful time.
It was
for
very
you.
impactful, and it was honestly hard for me to get through that contract. Like I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit many times. I was really depressed during that time. It did. I was really depressed during that time because I also at that time was 24. I was 24, and sometimes there is the performer who is, a machine.
Yeah.
And then there's the real person that has healing to do.
Absolutely.
So there was a divide between me being able to like soothe my soul and having to do this job. And then also feeling the pressure of like, my family was so proud of me. Like that was a moment where everything really paid off when I booked that. So I didn't want to quit.
Right.
I didn't want to quit. I didn't want to, let anybody down or disappoint them. And maybe they wouldn't have been, when I told them about what I was going through. But I felt like I needed to stick it out for me and for them. But
and show that.
Yeah.
And show that moments, because I think this generation, our generation, and maybe even the generation before that, they are so used to being just like, nah, I'm done. That's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. But then you don't earn that mental strength.
Yes.
Because something else is coming that's even stronger than that that you have to get through.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And that's the thing. So earlier I was saying I finished that contract in May of 2017 and my dad passed away September.
Wow.
6 months later.
Yeah.
He passed away. Or wait, that's not even May to September. No, that's 4
not
months.
6 months.
Yeah, that was 4 months later. He passed away, and that is a perfect example of that.
Exactly.
I thought that was hard.
Yeah.
And then I had to get through that.
And you had to start working toward it. Yeah, but that's what God and the spiritual, the universe was preparing you for, and a lot of us run from it.
No,
so then we have to run and you can't.
Because here's the thing, like a lot of times people don't realize, like you can't have joy, you can't have gratitude, you can't. This is that balance of life I was talking about. You can't have all the beauty of life if you haven't gone through something, because you can't appreciate things
and understand
if
why
you don't know what it is to live without something.
Come on,
like
it's that simple.
It's that simple,
but that hard. That it's simple enough the simpleness is like you have to force yourself to do it.
Yes,
because if you don't, you're gonna always be. It's not even. You might be happy. You might find happiness and comfort and comfortability. That scares me.
I think you can find comfort.
You can find comfort, but I don't know if that's happiness.
It's not. I don't think so.
In the long run, because even when you're comfortable, something always is nagging at you for some reason, and it's like, nah, this isn't supposed to be like this.
Yes, I know people who
Absolutely.
along the years have been in comfortable situations where they're not really hurting for anything,
right?
But they're not fulfilled.
Exactly, they're not feeling.
You don't feel anything, and I really believe that like if you don't know what it is to live without something, then nothing means anything to you.
Yeah.
Like imagine somebody who is born a millionaire, billionaire, and money in that regard don't mean anything to you. It's just flowing through your fingertips.
They still have to find what actually gives them purpose.
Yeah, that's
what people don't understand about rich people as well. That were wealthy for a very long time. They're still trying to find purpose in themselves. Money is, they can burn it, okay, whatever. But what makes them happy?
Yes.
What makes them feel like they're adding to this world? Now
let's get deep here for a second, because let's talk about like our community. This is why sometimes we can be very materialistic, because we know what it is to live without something. So then when we get a thing or that fly pair of Jordans or something like that, that means a lot.
Yes.
And sometimes that's to our detriment.
Absolutely.
Because
especially if it's too soon. Because you don't understand why it means something to you. It's just like, no, I know I wanted this feeling, and this is the feeling. The shoes did it. It wasn't the shoes, my guy. It was actually what you had to do to get them, and why you wanted them so bad, and you was able to accomplish a goal that made the shoes important. The shoes really don't mean nothing until you put the emphasis behind it. But we just look at the shoes, the tangible, and say that has to be it. It makes so much sense, but we don't. Sometimes we just got to go a little deeper to understand why. That's why I'm so grateful that I wasn't given everything.
Yes.
When it was a possibility I could have, because it was like I would have never understood why I wanted this or that and this and why I want my life to go a certain way and why I care about relationships more than anything.
Yes.
You know, it's those little things that make it that much more important. Or it would have took me 20 more years to figure that out.
Yeah.
You know, and I wasn't trying to be 50 I didn't have all of this, and I still had no purpose in my life.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you. What does the MXT stand for, actually?
So the MXT started off as Ma'at, and Ma'at is the Yoruba goddess of balance and life and justice. You know, that balance of life we kept coming to. So, yeah. She's the sister of Yimiyan Oshun.
Do you want to get a little deeper into that? Because I like knowledge now. We love knowledge over here. So what is that what is the culture? Where does it originate from?
Yeah, so Yoruba is, it has to do with like the ancient Egypt. And,
wow, okay.
Yeah, so Ma'at is it's a goddess, but also it became like a philosophy too. And like we were talking about earlier, without pain or loss, you can't have joy, that kind of thing. So it's about that balance of life and the justice of, things will level out. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's amazing. Let's get into some of your new singles and how you kind of got transition from being in theater and knowing you love music and actually executing that plan of getting in the studio, working with Miss Sharice Bryant and doing performances. Like, what was that time like for you?
Yeah, so it was a journey because, like I said, 2017 my dad passed. I was broke up about that. By 2018 I still wasn't healed, but I realized that I really had to make everything worthwhile. What I mean by that is, like, I was my dad's only biological child.
Wow.
Yeah, I was my dad's only child, and he didn't die with any money or property or anything. Nothing was left in this world from him but me. And my parents made a lot of investments into me because of their past. Like, my mom had my brother when she was 16. My dad he was in the streets when he was in high school, so he was selling crack and breaking into houses when by the time he was 16. They had to bail him out of jail for him to walk across the stage for his graduation from high school. Like, both my parents barely graduated from high school. My sister was kicked out of every high school in Akron and had to graduate from alternative school. My brother got his GED because he went to juvie when he was 16. So my parents made a lot of investments in me because even though, my brother is 9 years older than me, my sister is 5 years older than me, but even by then they knew that there were some opportunities that they missed. And my dad was only 21 when they had me. My mom was 25, but they did what they could to try to make better opportunities for me. So like, they had me hooked on phonics before I could really talk. And, And like, I remember asking my mom how to write in cursive when I was in like preschool, and she was teaching me. And I went to Robinson for kindergarten. They were trying to put me up in the second grade because I was so ahead, and my parents was like, no, we're not trying to do that. So my grandpa was the one that suggested that we look into Old Trail. So Old Trail is a private school that's out in Bath. LeBron James kids ended up going there.
Wow, okay.
So it's a very expensive, like, Ivy League elementary school. So when I did my test to get in there, I was reading on an 8th grade level as a second grader.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got in, I got financial aid and scholarships, but it was still $12,000 a year for my parents to send me.
Out of pocket.
That
is
so
wild.
$1,000 a month. And we was living off of Copley Road at that time.
Yeah.
We didn't have it like that.
Right.
So, every day the yellow school bus would pick me up from the hood and take me to the boonies so I could go to school with the white kids. And I am so grateful for those investments that my parents made. After my dad passed, by 2018, I was like, okay, I need to start going for it. So that's when I started getting into modeling. It started there. And I started just working with local photographers and just getting to the point where I was collaborating and, nobody was getting paid because we're both getting something out of it,
Absolutely.
and we're both contributing to the creative process. And then fast forward, honestly, to 2019. I met local artist Chev Meadows. Shout out. Yeah, he's dope. We met in late 2019.
Okay.
And when I met him, he was like talking about his new project that he just dropped, and I was like, oh, I'm a singer. And I used to tell people all the time that I was a singer, and nobody ever really like followed up because people just don't. But he followed up, and we did a single together. The first song I ever released on all the platforms is called Say Yes. And yeah, we did that song together, and then we started to just get to know other artists in the area.
Yeah.
And through Charlie Parker, he's a local producer. Shout out to him because he's very, very talented. But Charlie Parker was the one that told us about My World.
Oh, so that's where the connection came in.
At the old studio.
Yes. So that was all in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So after
2019, 2020.
Okay, so but that's after you made the decision to go after.
Excuse my gallon. I gotta stay hydrated.
Gotta stay hydrated. No, we love that over here. I wish every person we sat down with had a gallon of water because that literally is life. It's literally life. So
life.
I love it. I appreciate that actually.
Yeah.
But going through the roughest times of your life, you made the decisions to push forward instead of go backwards.
Yeah.
And it started to introduce the people that you needed. I think sometimes we don't even realize that we did that.
Yeah.
We made that conscious decision to let our subconscious work for the universe to work. Because sometimes most of the time, Royal Family, we are our own worst enemy.
Yeah. Actually,
we stop ourselves all the time.
100% of the time, because like we were saying earlier, people might see something in you, but if you don't see it in yourself, you're not going to present yourself in the way that it takes. Exactly. Sometimes it starts with with just taking care of yourself.
Oh.
Sometimes it really starts with just loving yourself to take care of yourself.
That changes everything.
Yes.
It changes the way you think about yourself. It changes the way you look at yourself. It changes the way you let people look at you.
Yes.
And it's just that's why I say health is wealth. It's deeper than working out and exercising and drinking and eating good. It's about how you feel when you wake up.
Yes.
Are you hurting every day at 25?
Yes.
That's not okay.
Yes.
Yes. Like we have to understand what's not okay and not accept that no more. And I like to talk to older people as far as understanding what they did right and what they did wrong, so I can know how to balance exactly and apply it to my life in a faster way, so I don't have to be 30, 40 and actually and now say make this decision. I can make it because I don't know why our world sometimes tries to like belittle like our 20s to say like, oh, you should just be working, or like you should just do this when we really should be finding ourselves, because this is our first chance to be able to really be on our own and figure out who we are and what we like and what we want to do. A lot of it comes from the influences of what we've seen, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's good for us or that we even like it. It was just something we were around enough that influenced us. But if we take a step back, we can understand what actually gives us joy, what actually changes our mood. Yeah,
and that's the thing. Self-awareness and emotional intelligence are so important, because what you just said is really interesting about how people say, you know what, no, just put your head down and work, and people don't know themselves. They're not self-aware, but they're making connections at that time that are lifelong. They're getting married. They're having kids. They're doing things that really require you to have some knowledge of self,
of who you are.
Because
then when you
they
change,
end up lost when they're when they're 30, 40, 50 years old.
And change into the person they always wanted to become, and it's not the person that they were when they made all these impactful decisions in their youth. People, that are impacted by this in your life, that that's why divorce rates are so high.
Yep, that's why
Because-
divorce rates are high.
Because we change. Yes, we change. But if you come in knowing who you are, you're only gonna change more into who you are.
Yes, you're
You
only
know,
gonna grow.
you're gonna grow into that person. You're not gonna change. People be like, "You
Completely.
changed." Yes, because I wasn't who I
wasn't
was.
Yeah.
I wasn't who I
You
was.
nor I knew who I was.
Oh, and I didn't know that
Yep.
when I met you, and
Yep.
and you can apologize
why-
all you want.
And that's why our generations continue to be lost, because something that is really important to teach to your kids is self-awareness, and they can only learn that by example.
Absolutely.
They can only learn it by example.
We could be talking all day.
We could.
But thank you so much. I'm gonna do something at the beginning. We're gonna do it in a second.
Wait. Should we talk about my singles?
Yes, let's do the singles.
Yes. Okay, so got 2 singles that just came out this year. Accountability is the first one. I think you would like it. You know,
No, I
we get
loved
into
it.
some deep
I've actually
talks.
listened to it
Oh,
and
yeah?
seen you perform it, I believe.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And that's a feel-good song, but it's a story. I mean, you really could get something out of it. And then Holding On is my new one. That is like just a nice little summer vibe. It's for the cookout. But if you look at the lyrics and you read between the lines, there's a story there too. I always, it's always something to say.
Well, there's a part 2 coming to this one because we're not done.
We're not done.
Please give them your social medias.
Yes, so I am Shamara MXT. That's Shamara SHAMARA_MXT on Instagram. I exist on Facebook, but she doesn't live there, so I'm not even gonna mention that one. That's really the big one.
And that's that. This is the King TV Network. We out of here. Peace.